Today on Locked On Rockies, kind of felt like we were back in Baltimore on Saturday with the way the Guardians offense was able to carve up the Rockies pitching staff. But on the bright side, they hit some home runs.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 30th day of July in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You are in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. And if you are the Colorado Rockies fans that I know you are, let me know what's on your mind in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. What's on your mind after this? What's on your mind heading into the trade deadline here, as it has been quiet on the trade front here. But some interesting stuff on the broadcast that I think I heard in this game, kind of reflected in the score of the game as well. Some stuff that we'll talk about, as well as breaking down the game and trying to keep a little positive as well, keep good vibes in the ways that we can, as the Rockies are in a position, as they were heading into the finale against Baltimore after a tough Game 2 loss, still able to win a series and able to bounce back tomorrow. And we'll see if Kyle Freeland's able to help them and bounce back himself. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So, obviously, the big story in the game here today, Tanner Gordon unable to locate his pitches, or really anybody when it comes to the Rockies, as they allow runs in 6 out of the 9 innings, technically 8, considering the Guardians were the home team and they didn't bat in the bottom of the 9th inning. They allowed 2 runs in the first, 1 run in the second, 4 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and 1 in the 6th. Now, that was all the damage that was done, with a couple of scoreless frames there from let's see, the only pitcher that wasn't was Jaden Hill there, that came in there for an inning scoreless worth of work, which good for him. Did have the walk, but 4 walks costly for the Rockies here, and a bunch of missed locations. I mean, they hit the heck out of the ball in this one. The Rockies allowing the multiple home run game to Manzanardo, and also allowing 15 runs in this end. Terrible, and just honestly, just not a good day for Tanner Gordon. He throws the ball away again. This game, when we're talking about it's about consistency, right? As I bring up a ton. This was, they were consistent they did the same thing they did in Game 2, and wasting an opportunity here. And it happens. You don't have your best control, you don't have your best stuff, and Tanner Gordon is still a young guy. Interesting that he has yet to win a game outside of Coors Field. Coors Field has actually been the place where he has been the most successful. But when you're talking about between, in the first 5 innings of the game here, you're allowing, 13 hits. You're allowing 9 runs in that time, and you're walking 3 batters and only striking out 2. That's a recipe for disaster for the Colorado Rockies, for any team, really. I mean, that mountain is way too steep to climb back up. And especially, as the broadcast was mentioning, the Guardians, while their record right now still floating right around that 500 mark, they've been a much better team in the second half of the season and been scoring a ton of runs of late. And that's what they did. A team, the radio broadcast mentioning, like the Brewers here, where if you give them that inch, if you give them those opportunities to take extra bases, they will. And that impacted and was an issue for the Rockies in this ball game as well. Not to mention the fact that they were 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position as well. Some opportunities to chip away in the lead and get back into it in this one, but were unable to do so here. Didn't strike out a ton here. One thing that when you're looking at least on one part of the approach here for the offense, the Rockies had everybody in the lineup except for Hunter Goodman and Youngkill Fernandez, who was a late pinch hitter for Tyler Freeman. all got hits. They didn't strike out a bunch. They struck out 5 times in total there. So they were trying, showing a little bit of that fight. And of course, we did see the Rockies hit 3 home runs in this game. Kyle Farmer, Michael Toglia, and Jordan Beck all hitting home runs. Solo shots there being the main way the Rockies got some runs back in this one. So that's a positive. But this is the big stat, the big thing that I was taking away from what I heard on the broadcast here was, I don't have the number specifically in front of me of runs allowed in total by the Rockies since the All-Star break. I do know, and what they said in the broadcast, that was the bullpen was responsible for half of them. It was like in the 60s range, and the bullpen had allowed like 33 runs in that time. And talk about a terrible time for that to be happening here. As the Rocky, as I was kind of saying and mentioning, I posted this on Twitter earlier, where I was talking about so many teams are looking for that bullpen help right now. And Buster Olney's out there saying that the price might be too high for the Rockies, that they might not make the moves. A perfect storm of an underwhelming and not successful trade deadline for the Rockies could be brewing here, with the Rockies bullpen being, struggling out the gate here and cooling off the market for any of these guys, and mixed in with the fact that you have the Rockies, their beliefs and their valuations of their guys, something that they've known to overvalue. But in reality, when you're looking at it, and when you're looking at the state of the Rockies bullpen, yes, there's been some good stretches. Yes, there are some good numbers in there, but overall, they still give up a lot of runs. Overall, they've come up short in moments there when the Rockies have turned to them, and it's been a variety of pitchers. It hasn't just been one. Each one of the Rockies, pitchers can kind of point to some issues there and some successes as well. But if you're the Rockies, you're not in a position to be sitting here and saying and singing super high praise of some of these bullpen pieces when you have a league worst ERA, when you have pitchers, when you have issues and statistical problems with your bullpens, when you have a bullpen that's giving up the most amount of or half of your team's runs, when the bullpen is allowing half of the runs, that's a huge problem for them here. It's something that has been a massive issue for them here. And, we're just looking at the post All-Star break, numbers for some of these guys here. Jake Bird's got an ERA of 19.64 in the last 3 2/3. Zach Agnos has an ERA of 23.63 in 2 2/3 there, allowing 7 earned runs in that time. Jake Bird's allowed 8 runs at this time. This is a situation where you're kind of like, oh my goodness, this could be putting the brakes on just about anything here. But you're also looking, Tyler Kinley's been, throwing the ball well. Jimmy Herget's been a strong example. No matter what the stretch has been for the bullpen, no matter what how hopeful the Rockies might be down the stretch here or through the rest of the season, if you miss out on being able to on moving some of these bullpen pieces, and some of them do have control, and some of them can help the Rockies, but the Rockies are still multiple years away. When you are having and it's Buster, there might be some hesitation there, but a guy that is notorious and around baseball and has been talking and being a talking head for baseball forever, when they're talking about the Rockies being able to bring home a huge haul for their bullpen pieces, but they're sitting here overvaluing them. You can't miss out on this. You can't miss out on this. You can't miss out on this. This trade deadline cannot come and go, and the Colorado Rockies sit there and stand mostly pat. You can't sit there and just pat yourself on the back and say, good job, we traded Ryan McMahon, when you have pieces that you can move and get more back that will help you down the line. There's so much need for bullpen help out there. Every single person in the bullpen should be at least discussed. I know that might be crazy to think when you're thinking about some of these young guys that have the multiple years of control or anything, but you have to look at where the Rockies are at and how long it's going to take for them to get there. They can and will get more help from their in the bullpen and through the farm system. They will have guys that will be able to come up here and perform at some pretty good levels. But if you have teams that are interested and you're able to add, and make multiple deals with from your bullpen here, even with some of these guys having an underwhelming second start to the second half of the season, you will be severely disappointed. Or at least I will say that to you as in the Rockies fan, because that's not being serious. If you're going to hesitate and you're going to go, head in the sand, and you're going to, really stand pat and really not be a team that sells off multiple pieces and consider, you won't be able to just, feed the usual BS of like, oh, it's just right around the corner. Oh, we got some young guys coming up. No, you missed out on an opportunity to really fully, truly embrace and add and rebuild to this team. And just seeing some of the performances from the bullpen and hearing some of those numbers from the bullpen and seeing some of those guys' numbers here since the All-Star break, it just does not fill me with a ton of confidence in the Rockies actually being the team that they should be at the trade deadline and making the amount of deals that they should. Maybe I'm just getting antsy because it's been a trade deadline that hasn't had a lot of activity yet. Obviously, when it gets closer to the actual deadline, that's when things really start happening, and we'll be entering the last 48 hours here. A lot can change, but the Rockies simply cannot miss out on this opportunity to make deals with some of the pieces in their bullpen to build towards the future. And just, it would be very Rockies for that to happen. All right, let's take a look at some of the good things that happened in this game as well, and kind of just take a look at what's next for the Roccos here in the matchup as well. Coming up on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Gametime. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60%. Yes, 60% off with their killer last minute deals. And Gametime has got me covered for, I've used it mostly for sports, but I also went and saw the Postal Service using it and had a great deal. And guess what? I had a view from my seat, so I knew exactly where I was going, knew exactly where I was sitting, and I knew exactly the type of view I was going to have of the stage when I arrived. With Gametime, the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees. And if you're worried about your plans changing, the Gametime guarantee has your back with cancellation protection and more. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Back at it here for segment number 2 of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much again for making us your first listen of the day. So, are you worried about the bullpen? Are you worried about the Rockies not making moves at the deadline? How are you feeling about the trade deadline? Do we think the Rockies will be really actually aggressive in selling things off? Are they going to sit there and say, look at this start to the second half of the season that we're having and some of the months that these guys are having, and we got to buy in. We got to double down. We got to embrace this team? Because I let me know in the comments, because until it all goes down, until they actually show that they're going to be a real seller, until they actually show that they're going to be serious about the Rockies and their abilities, the Rockies rebuild. I'm sorry, not their abilities. I had a separate thing in my brain that I wanted to go to, but feel like sometimes I go pew, 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 too many directions. Until they show it to me, I'm skeptical. Listen, I thought the Ryan McMahon trade was going to be setting the tone. Boom, got it done early. Yankees are here. They're ready. Who's up? Who wants a bullpen piece? And we saw some bullpen pieces get traded today and things like that. So it might start happening. Rockies might just be saying, hey, we're trying to win this series, and we got Thursday here, and it's going to be an interesting thing. Maybe they're going to be trying to making deals throughout the day tomorrow. So that plane, instead of it heading back to Denver for the Rockies, which they have Paul Skeens coming up, by the way, that will be fascinating. They'll send them off in a different thing, use the off day to help them get to their next locations. But hearing that the Rockies bullpen was responsible for 50% of the Rockies runs allowed in the second half of the season so far, mixed with the murmurs from the talking heads of the Rockies being hesitant at the trade deadline, just sunk my gut today. Sunk my big hopes of a big sell-off here, because it's not only what is the market for the Rockies players, but it is what is the Rockies valuation and evaluation of the players in the market that they're interested in and could get for some of these guys. And talk about another situation in which they have to prove themselves. Another area of the game, and another area of that part of the game, the front office part of the game, and the talent evaluation game. I gotta see it first. I'm in a see it before I believe it type of phase. And this goes back to, again, the Rockies making the internal hires, making the internal promotions, making up all this stuff. I just don't have, until they prove me wrong, the confidence level remains low in the organizational side, in the front office side for me. One of the things I was kind of thinking about too with this bullpen, and also with the starters for the Rockies, and just kind of the state of the pitching staff and the development of these things. Again, why haven't the Rockies, out of all of the changes the Rockies have made this year, why wasn't there still a change at pitching coach? Why? I mean, when we're talking about the Rockies being a team that throw the ball away, we're talking about a Rockies team that has not been successful in a lot of areas of pitching. We're talking about a situation here in which I need to know what's that reasoning. Because there was the other questions about if Bill Schmidt's going to be out too. Maybe that might happen down the line. I don't think so with a draft and a trade deadline. And I don't know if I'm going to see that. But with all the issues we've seen in certain times with Rockies pitching, and I know it's I understand I'm sitting here saying this the day after the Rockies had a great start from Bradley Blaylock. But again, when we're talking about pitchers throwing the ball away, when we're talking about looking at the numbers and the actual performances from Rockies starters and Rockies pitching in a lot of examples, why hasn't there been an increased amount of pressure there? Why hasn't there been a situation sitting here and saying, like, what makes his role more secure when there's question marks here? And I mean, and why I wanted to tie that to my trade deadline thing is maybe you're hanging on there because you want to see where you're at the rest of the season to have him work with some of these guys. But in a developmental year, is Darryl Scott providing what the Rockies need from a pitching coach right now? Is he doing what about his performances? And this isn't the first time I've asked this question, but it's just kind of interesting to see as you're just kind of watching some of these and it's not just the pitching. The whole game today was just kind of, it shows the inconsistencies with the Rockies. Gritty back and forth affair in the first one, jumping out early, being successful on offense, cashing with some runners in scoring position, and then on this one, it's can't get the command, can't get the pitchers to get it, allowing too much, allowing a bunch of runs, allowing a bunch of offense, not being able to keep up, not mad, getting hits, but not having the clutch hits there. So it's not just the pitching staff. But I am curious, like, where does why have they stopped in certain areas? Why haven't they gone and made changes in other areas as well? Would it be too many changes in one season with going with interim coaches and bringing that in, and you got to leave some sort of as part of the the concrete, or part of the team that's been there, part of the coaching staff that's been there? That certainly could be the case. That certainly could be an option. But it is something I've thought about, and it is just kind of, again, something that it's like, is that part of is the coaching staff part of the problem with the valuation of the players, and is that could that be a factor? I don't know, because it's a weird spot to be, but I it's just what type where did I that one has just stuck out to me. It's and an interesting little just kind of, I don't know, and maybe it's not as interesting to you to you folks, but just something I was thinking about. So we didn't get to it in the second segment, like I said we were, but that's okay. We'll let's talk about the good thing that's happened, the good things that happened in this finale, in this game too, and let's talk about the Rockies getting ready for the finale here, a little night game, and a little hopeful bounce back moment for Kyle Freeland as well. Let's do that coming up next. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes 5 Hour Energy. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days are long and hot. I mean, getting out there in the middle of a summer day on the golf course there in Colorado, it's hot. And let's be honest, some days on the course or off of it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I've only hit one legendary golf shot in my life. It was the great chip right from a bunker in, and a perfect little bounce, and landed in there. It honestly kind of felt like a little bit of a total fluke, because I'm not much of a golfer there. But you know what? Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. So why not enjoy a 5 Hour Energy Transfusion? If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. That's promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order at 5hourenergy.com. Locked On Rockies here, back with you for segment number 3. Let's focus on the cool story happening right now with the Colorado Rockies, as Warming Bernabel continues to rip the ball. What I like, not only is he getting the base knocks, not only is he, starting to, be effective there, he's made some nice defensive stops. He's been active. He has been not letting things get too fast for him and get away from him. Not to mention, my favorite thing, watching people hit the cover off the ball. And that is what he has done there. Is he's now batting 400 in his short time up in the major leagues here. But that's a good momentum builder and a good feel-good story there. And you got to ride the hot hand, right? As you're in this position, got to keep him in the lineup until things start cooling off, till maybe the teams get a little film on him and make some adjustments. But for now, let the kid play, let him rip, and let him keep doing what he's been doing, as he's been effective in the Rockies lineup here in the couple of games that he's played. And like I mentioned here, as much of a bummer as the scoreboard says, and as much of a bummer that the pitching staff was allowing the damage that they allowed, Rockies, picking up 10 hits, a multi-hit day for Tyler Freeman here, multi-hit day for Bernabel. And just like I said earlier in the show, everybody in the starting lineup outside of Hunter Goodman picking up base knocks there and keeping the strikeouts down low. That's a nice sign there. Again, the runners in scoring position is the big bummer there in terms of the offensive side, but good to see the home runs too from Farmer, from Tolia, maybe that, just getting in there. We got to break out of the slump somehow, and maybe a home run in a lost game is the way to do it, as he's trying to navigate and get himself back up there. It's tough to see when you're looking at there a DH batting under 200 with the batting line that Tolia has, and then he's followed up by Orlando Arcia with a 176, 215, 254 batting line right there. it's not all that pretty at the bottom of the lineup. But it was only one hit, but 1 for 4 for Brenton Doyle in this ball game as he continues to be putting himself in a little bit of a better groove here now, having hits in his last 5 ball games, having hits in his last 5 out of 6 ball games. Hasn't been driving in the runs and still a strikeout in all of these games as well, but certainly seeming like he's getting into a better spot, at least a little bit, and certainly in a great spot against left-handed pitching this year as well. And just some good swings there. I mean, there were some moments that the Rockies could have changed the momentum, got themselves back in there, but it didn't happen in this one. Rockies also, making a couple of nifty plays. We're talking about Bernabel being able to, get a couple of hits and be effective on the offense side. But out there, a creative play there early on, I believe, was that Tanner Gordon, or was that her? I can't remember who was the pitcher that rolled the ball over there to make the play, and then a big diving stop there. And I know it was between Bernabel and the Herget over there making a great play there. They were highlighting that on the broadcast as well. So a couple of small good things there, and then on the cherry on top, at least when you're trying to find the silver lining here, well, you have a chance to go out and do it again. But something that to note here, kind of when we're looking at the similarities and why the Guardians were able to do so much damage in this game, not only was it a lot of hits allowed, it was a lot of multi-hits allowed from the middle of the order. The 2, 3, and 4 guys of the Guardians order getting at least 2 hits in the ball game. And, of course, former Rocky, he gets the revenge game in this one, getting on base 4 times and going 2 for 3 with a walk as well in this. Oh, he didn't get walked. I thought, no, he got hit by a pitch. So he got hit by a pitch as well in that one. But that's the huge issue. That's no surprise there, and especially a good offense like the Guardians. Because again, it was shocking to hear some of their lack of scoring and lack of numbers when you look at some of the names in the lineup. And the Rockies in game 1 able to keep Ramirez out of the hit column, but not so successful in game 2. Good news. On top of that, on top of some of the small good things there, the Rockies got a chance here to still win the series and go 3 of 4 to open the second half of the season. And it's going to be this one's going to be on. They're going to have to bounce back in a way where it's going to be, they got to be able to lean on Kyle Freeland coming out here. He's got to be able to adjust. And though he was able to lead the Rockies and help keep them in there for the win there, he needs to make sure that he's keeping this ball in the ball in the yard. He needs to make sure that he's not allowing too many home runs, as he allowed the 4 solo shots there. And keep it close. He's got to continue to be, as the Rockies social media was pointing out, he's got to be the grinder for the Rockies. The Rockies really need a quality start here from Kyle Freeland to set the tone here, to give them a chance and an opportunity here. You can't fall behind early. You got to jump out ahead. You got to seize that momentum. Not a day game. Not a they have the off day on Thursday, so the schedule should maybe favor a usual rhythm there, and hopefully no long rain delays. But this game is going to be, it all starts really with Kyle Freeland. It starts with the offense jumping out ahead here. Colby Allard is pitched in 41 innings so far, 2-1 record with a 2.83 ERA, a whip of 1.35. He's allowed 46 hits in that 41 innings worth of work, 4 of them being home runs. So, that's a factor there. The getting some hits. The Rockies have been able to get hits in this series, been able to hit the ball. But if you get those runners in scoring position, you got to cash in. 23 strikeouts there in that time to 10 walks. So still some things to point out there. Some not perfect amount of finesse here from Colby. There are some areas here in the small amount of time that he's pitched so far that the Rockies might be able to take advantage of here. But if you get hits, if you put the ball in play, you got to be able to cash in and score the runs there. So it's got to be a bounce back performance for the Rockies pitching staff in the finale. In the final game for the Rockies before the trade deadline officially hits, as the Rockies are off on Thursday. So all eyes will be on really just Major League Baseball in general, as who is going to be on hug watch, who might be heading out, and who might be getting traded. We'll be keeping an eye on it and keeping track of all the trade deadline action right here on Locked On Rockies. Folks, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night for coverage from around the league and every game every night. If you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services as well. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.